Football often brings us the joy of a team's victory. Beautiful goals, elegant combinations, original celebrations. But sometimes football gives you emotions that make you want to cry. And if you are in a good mood, this video might ruin it for you. Because in this video, I will tell you who died clinically during the game. How did Cristiano Ronaldo's tears help his team? How did the yellow card affect the player's life and the team's fate? Why did Darek Formella play the whole game with tears in his eyes? And how they said goodbye to the great Diego Maradona, all in today's edition. Christian Eriksen. One of the most important and scary things to happen in world football in recent years has to do with a Danish man we all know, Christian Eriksen. At Euro 2021, in the middle of the Finland-Denmark match, the Danish midfielder collapsed on the pitch, and the whole world watched with bated breath. His teammates could not hold back their tears, but they acted like men. They surrounded Christian as he lay on the turf, preventing spectators and TV viewers from seeing the horrific images, and doctors brought Eriksen back to life on the pitch with the help of a defibrillator. Later, the doctors said that Christian had experienced clinical death. He was immediately taken to hospital, and the teams continued the match in this condition. Thank God everything was okay. Christian survived and even returned to the big game. Miklos Fejer, another story that has shocked the world. But this time, the result is not very reassuring. 25th of January 2004, Portuguese Championship. Vitória Guimarães host Benfica on their home turf. In the 59th minute, Hungarian Miklos Fejer comes on, scores a goal, and Benfica opened the scoring. A few minutes later, Fejer was shown a yellow card for a routine challenge, smiled, turned to defend, took a few steps, and fell unconscious on the turf, his arms outstretched to his sides. As the doctors rushed to Miklos' side, everyone held his head and wept. The doctors fought for a long time to save the 24-year-old striker's life, but after 2 hours in hospital, the doctors sadly pronounced him dead. The cause was a cardiac arrhythmia. An autopsy later revealed that the Hungarian had suffered from a congenital heart defect. A memorial to Fejer was unveiled in front of the Da Luz Stadium. The footballer looks up, his left hand rests on his heart, and the number 29 he played under is permanently retired from the Benfica roster. Davide Astori. On the 4th of March 2018, the whole world was shaken by another sad news. Before the 27th round of the Italian Championship, Udinese, Fiorentina, in the morning did not wake up the captain of the Fialocchi, Davide Astori. In the evening, before the team went to bed, Davide played with the Fiorentina goalkeeper on the PlayStation. And when he went to bed, he wrote to the goalkeeper that he would pick up his boots in the morning, but he never did. Astor's body was discovered in the morning by the team's physiotherapist. An autopsy revealed that the defender had died of bradyarrhythmia, a condition in which the heart beats at less than 60 beats per minute. Had Astori not been alone and spoken of his pain, he could have been saved, but, on the captain's rights, he was in a single room. The first game without David was a memorable one. Fiorentina hosted Benevento at home, with coach Stefano Pioli unable to hold back tears during the minute's silence. The Fiorentina players came out to warm up wearing Astori's shirt, the number 13 of their captain. In the 13th minute of the match, the players kicked the ball into touch in support of Astori, despite a ban by the Italian Football Federation. In the 25th minute of the match, defender Ugo, who came on as a substitute for David Astori, ran to the edge of the pitch and saluted the captain's shirt. Ugo played under number 31, the inverted number of David Astor. Darek Formella. Another story we couldn't help but mention. A match in the USL's second division between Sacramento Republic and Rio Grande Valley featured an emotional moment that caught the eye. In the 81st minute, Polish striker Darek Formella, who came on as a substitute, scored to make the score 2-1. After scoring, the 23-year-old striker took a few steps, knelt down, and wept. Nobody could understand what had happened. It turned out that his father had died of cancer a few hours before the match. When he arrived at the match, he did not tell anyone in the team about the loss. Formella told his teammates about his personal tragedy on the pitch immediately after scoring. Diego Maradona. On 25th of November 2020, one of the greatest footballers in the history of the game, Diego Armando Maradona, passed away. The whole world was in shock. Boca Juniors, Maradona's first club, played the first match after the famous Argentine's death. But the most poignant moment came in the 12th minute. The Colombian midfielder scored from a free kick, and the whole Boca Juniors team ran to Maradona's box to celebrate. Diego was no longer there, but his eldest daughter was, and the players spread out the Argentina shirt and applauded in her direction. Dalma, Diego's daughter, couldn't control her emotions and burst into tears. Cristiano Ronaldo. Another heartbreaking story happened at the Euro 2016 in France, and more specifically at the final itself. It pitted the French national team against Portugal. The story is about Cristiano Ronaldo. Right at the start of the game, Dimitri Payet crashed into Ronaldo and injured him. It was a serious injury. Ronaldo noticed everything and cried. The player was stretchered off, and it looked like Portugal had no chance. Krish could not miss his team's performance and watch the game in extra time with the head coach. It was emotional when Eder's decisive goal gave Portugal the win. Cristiano cried even more, but these were tears of happiness. Neymar. Another touching story came from Brazil's Neymar. As a player for Santos, he met children with cancer one day, and in a video, you can see one boy asking the Brazilian to dance the way he does when he scores. In his next match for Santos, Neymar scored and kept his promise. He and some of his teammates ran to the edge of the pitch and did a dance like the little boy Dil. Eder Lima. Another sob story happened at the Mini Soccer World Cup. In the semi-finals of the Mini Soccer World Cup in Colombia, the Russian team beat the Iranian team. However, many fans missed out on an extremely touching episode. After the match, Eder Lima, a player for the Russian national team, went to the stands and gave a blind boy a Russian national team t-shirt.
Eder Lima. I was sitting on the bench waiting for an invitation to the doctor's room when I heard someone shouting, "Eder Lima, Eder Lima." I turned around and saw a boy on the bench who was blind. I went up to him and he asked me, "Are you really Eder Lima? I've heard a lot about how you play." I replied, "Yes, I am Eder Lima," and asked him for a t-shirt. I helped him put it on and gave him a hug. Then he asked again, "Are you really Eder Lima?" I replied, "I am," to which he said, "Then hug me tighter." I couldn't hold back my tears, said the Russian international.
Jonas Hector. The next story, different from the others, is touching because it's about a player leaving the club. We can't show how Zlatan, Leo, Iniesta, or Piqué left the club because of the time, but it's all, we want to tell a story that you've hardly heard. Let's go to Germany, Cologne Football Club, and their legend, Jonas Hector. When the club said goodbye to Jonas, they showed that they were a real family. For a long time, the star player of the German national team spent almost his entire career at mid-table Cologne. He stayed with the club even when they were relegated to the Bundesliga, a move appreciated by the fans, who made Jonas part of the Cologne family. In the dressing room after the final match against Bayern, Hector made a speech that was greeted with loud applause from his teammates. And then the team performed a ritual that had only recently been introduced in the dressing room. They sang the song "Tommy" in a big family circle. After the song, the defender, who was already at the stadium, gave a farewell speech that left many fans and club staff unable to contain their emotions. The fans of Cologne will always be grateful to Jonas Hector, who didn't go to a big club and didn't abandon them when they were relegated from the second division. Antonio Puerto. And the last one for today, a sad story from our selection. It happened in August 2007. Sevilla defender Antonio Puerta, 22, felt unwell in the 35th minute of a Spanish Cup match against Real Madrid and lost consciousness. But thanks to the help of the paramedics, he was able to recover and leave the pitch on his own. In the dressing room, Puerta suffered a second heart attack and was rushed to one of Seville's hospitals. The next day, club president Jose Maria del Nido issued a statement saying that despite the prolonged cardiac arrest, Puerta's life was not in danger. It was reassuring, but in vain. The doctors were unable to bring the young footballer back to life. He died without regaining consciousness on 28th August. This tragedy was blamed on Sevilla's medical staff, who had not been paying attention to Puerta's previous fainting spells during training. Imagine, 22 years old, a footballing career that had not even had time to begin, but had been halted forever. Sevilla's first match after Puerta's death was against Milan in the UEFA Super Cup. The match was about to be abandoned, but Sevilla insisted on playing. Milan went on to beat Sevilla 3-1. But the match was overshadowed by the loss of the young defender, which was the most talked about story of the year. That's all for today. If you have any interesting heartwarming stories or videos about footballers, share them in the comments. See you soon, and love football, whatever emotions it brings.